Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 best Nintendo 3DS games that still hold up incredibly well today. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Mario Kart 7. We'll be the first to admit that MK7 doesn't have as strong of a track selection as the other games in the franchise, nor does it have the strongest character selection. Metal Mario? Seriously? But don't let that deter you. MK7 does hold some fun gimmicks to spice things up a bit. One of the first things you'll notice is the ability to build your very own kart. Bodies, wheels, and gliders will affect your stats on top of your character's weight class, making it crucial to create a kart that suits your playstyle. Of course, the way the game utilizes the 3DS's capabilities to give the visuals a ton of depth between your kart and the incoming obstacles is incredibly immersive. Pokémon X and Y.
Welcome to the Kalos region, home of your new Pokémon adventure.
The 3DS did get a handful of wonderful mainline Pokémon games. If you prefer Sun and Moon or the remakes of Ruby and Sapphire, more power to you. For us, X and Y were just as great as the titles before it. Not only did we get a whole new generation of pocket monsters to collect, we also got to see the world of Pokémon in a new light with the 3D functionality.
Adding a new twist to your battle strategies.
Plus, we now had a handheld Pokémon game that sported 3D character models of each Pokémon instead of 2D sprites. Basically, it was a technical step up in the long-running franchise. Plus, the Megaforms were a cool gimmick. If only this level of quality had carried over into the Switch's lifespan.
You can even copy your Pokémon's actions to make them happier.
Fire Emblem Awakening. It almost feels like every new Fire Emblem is better than the last, Engage notwithstanding. Engage is kind of eh. As for Awakening, well, it's almost hard to describe just how impressive this game was. From the beautifully written story to the new features to adhere to both casual and hardcore tactics fans, Awakening managed to rejuvenate the franchise in a way Nintendo had never anticipated. While planned to be the final game in the series, Nintendo and developer Intelligent Systems went all out on the production value here, which is something you can't say about a lot of 3DS games, let alone handheld games in general. Kirby, Planet Robobot. Kirby saw a large handful of titles thrown his way during the 3DS days. Triple Deluxe, the port of Epic Yarn, the 3D remake of Kirby's Adventure, they're all well and good. Planet Robobot, on the other hand, total blast. Look, you don't need much reason to play this game, okay? It's Kirby, and he's got a freaking mecha. And not only do you still get copy abilities like any normal Kirby game, but the mecha can get copy abilities too. It all conjures into one of the most destructive and most fun games the 3DS ever saw. Dead or Alive, Dimensions. With the exception of one notable title you'll see soon, Dead or Alive Dimensions was the only major fighting game that gracefully translated from more powerful home consoles to the 3DS. Whereas Tekken and Street Fighter did get 3DS games, they suffered from technical setbacks like lower frame rates or missing features, while Dead or Alive managed to deliver a complete package.
Let's move. Get ready. Fight. Here we go.
He had an entire story campaign, smooth frame rates, exceptional audio and visual fidelity, an online mode, and, as with every Dead or Alive, a plethora of costumes to unlock between both gameplay and Spot Pass. This was the ultimate love letter to the fans of the franchise. Kid Icarus Uprising.
When you're not firing, you'll go into a glide that makes it easier to dodge attacks. Holding your fire also builds up charge shots. Aim carefully and use them wisely.
Kid Icarus is one of Nintendo's many neglected franchises that simply does not get enough love, especially with its 3DS outing. Kid Icarus Uprising presented a unique control scheme for the system, one less reliant on button presses and more on stylus controls. It sounds weird at first, until you find the groove.
The only thing to do is shoot it. I'll get it out of that shell any way I have to.
Suddenly, dodging attacks, countering, and charging up attacks feels immensely satisfying. On top of that, every one of the on-rails shooter segments is thrilling, as Palutena has Pit flying through narrow gaps and across wide-open vistas and chaotic skies. In terms of aesthetics, combat, and set pieces, this was Nintendo's own God of War, in its own special way, of course.
Crushing victory!
Crushing defeat!
Animal Crossing New Leaf. The exciting part about New Leaf wasn't just some of the new characters like Isabelle or the refined graphics that made Animal Crossing even cuter with the right amount of detail. No, it was the premise that sold us. For years, we lived in the villages of Animal Crossing as mere residents that could shake trees and dig up fossils, all while dealing with an ever-increasing amount of debt from that shady Tom Nook. In New Leaf, we were no longer just residents, but mayors. Yes, now you could run your very own village with community projects and enacting ordinances, all while dealing with an ever-increasing debt from Tom Nook. There's just no escaping that damn raccoon, is there? The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. As with many 3DS games, A Link Between Worlds took everything we knew and loved about Zelda and forced us to start thinking about perspective. The trick in A Link Between Worlds came in the form of Link suddenly being able to turn two-dimensional. While you still had to rely on some gear to solve puzzles and explore dungeons, there were times where merging into walls would be required to progress, sometimes even leading to secret areas. And even if you weren't super crazy about this one, there were two other Zelda titles to wet your whistle. Really, the remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask greatly improve upon the originals thanks to the 3DS's touchscreen. Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. Oh, Smash Brothers, what an obvious choice for a list about games on a Nintendo console. Well, yeah, I mean, Smash 3DS was a remarkable experience, and not just because it was the first game in the franchise to be on a handheld. Smash 3DS took every concern someone uttered about the franchise possibly going on a smaller screen, and it solved nearly every one of those problems without taking a beat. A UI that was easy to read, stages that were simple enough, yet still had fun shticks to distinguish them all, and a wealth of game modes both old and new were all smashed into one tiny cartridge. No pun intended. Whether you enjoyed single player, smash run, or fighting friends through download play, there was just too much to love here. And we didn't even mention the impressive roster that was built for this installment. I mean, come on, Mega Man and Pac-Man and Sonic and Mario in one game.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time!
Super Mario 3D Land. It's somewhat befuddling how some gaming outlets would cry back then about how boring Mario supposedly was, yet continued to give the games high scores. Even 3D Land managed to prove them wrong in how it offered a ton of different ideas and gameplay, regardless of how ancient, of how long Mario has been around for. From platforms that switch positions when you jump, to that tricky Shadow Mario following your every move, Super Mario 3D Land made the simplest ideas fun and challenging. Couple that with fun items like the boomerang flower and cleverly hidden secrets like prize boxes, and sure enough, this was another title showing Mario is always at the top of his game. But what's your favorite game that you played on the 3DS? Me personally, I spent a lot of time playing Dead or Alive Dimensions and Animal Crossing New Leaf back in the day. But let us know down in the comments below what your favorite 3DS game is, and be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.